silence the cell phones if you haven't already. And now we are going to start off the musical part of our presentation with Mr. Sean O'Shea, and Laurie just snuck off right at the right time, didn't she? And she's good that way.
That's right. The first one is mostly these guys.
Okay. So go for it. It's all yours.
Thought I would bring you a song from Nashville. And it's my favorite one to use in getting centered before a service into meditation. And so I'll sing it through one time and teach it to you. It's really crazy easy. And there are the lyrics. It goes like this. I am holy. Only goodness comes from me. I am holy. Only goodness comes from me. We do that together? I am holy. Only goodness comes from me most of the time. I am holy. Only goodness comes from me. I am holy. Only goodness comes from me. I am holy. Only goodness comes from me. One more time, like you mean it. I am holy. Only goodness comes from me. I am holy. Only goodness comes from me. Only goodness comes from me. Only goodness comes from me. Beautiful. Thank you for joining me for that. Now I want to welcome my favorite songwriter, Laurie O'Shea. Take it from
He
here.
asked to say that he's married to me. I'll just say, Charlotte, when you were just saying in your meditation, we put our center in your hands. What came to me immediately was that your center and also our center in your hands, and that's something I'm constantly reminding myself to do, is put my center in God's hands and know everything's going to be all right, and it is. And this song is a reminder of that. It's called God Is.
That she knows.
There's a spirit, and it's watching over me. I can feel it, even though I cannot see, ever guiding all the footsteps that I take to leave me sleeping. And from the moment I wake, some say it's just the voice inside my head telling me what is right and wrong. I say that it's something else instead, something so powerful, something so strong. God is in so many ways, there are too many to be counted. you see her, that little girl in front of you, it's so amazing how she innocently trusts. She doesn't question, it's all she knows, and so she does. How do we lose the power to put our faith in fellow man? If that little girl can see him in you, then why can't we see him too? When will we understand God is in so many ways? There are too many to be counted. When I look around, I am astounded. I am surrounded by all the many ways God is. First ray of sun streaming through the blinds, the one that you love reads your mind. The new cries of a baby being born, it's the peace that comes after every storm. God is in so many ways, there are too many to count it. Oh, when I look around, I am astounded. I am surrounded by all the many ways God is. Yeah, just look around. You are surrounded by all the many ways God is.
Well, I told Sean and Laurie when I saw them come up the steps this morning at the house that they are going to be the best dressed people here today. And, you know, it's nice to have someone wearing a suit and tie, isn't it? I tell you, it's like, it's pretty cool. So, yeah, there you go.
Best was not the first word out of your mouth. She said, "You're the most best dressed people."
And it brings a new level of class to our center. So for that, you know, we're all going to have to bump it up a bit after
I'm
this.
getting my jeans on.
No, I like it. So anyway, I'm so thrilled that today is finally here and that we get to hear your wonderful message. And you're just a wonderful guy. Ellen and I were talking last night just how much we love you guys, and you're just
We
awesome.
love you too.
So we thank you for coming, and I look forward to this. So I'm going to turn it over to you. So let's welcome Sean O'Shea.
Thank you. I can't wait to hear what I have to say. Check. We good? All right, thanks, brother. Appreciate this, guy. It's, having a good sound person makes a huge difference.
Amen.
Well, yeah, now I'm kind of a nice guy most days. The truth is I really wasn't for most of my life. I was really, really self-centered. I was very angry. I was always ready for a fight. So guess what I got? All the time. I can't imagine why there's so much conflict all the time. Everybody's out to get me. Everybody wants to argue. Yeah, well, keep that up. Part of it was I was born this guy. You're kind. A little runt of a guy with bright white skin and flaming red hair, born to parents 40 years older. I had siblings, but they were 10 and 15 years older. And we lived where there were no kids. So going into kindergarten, I was a miniature adult. And I couldn't figure out why the other kids were eating crayons and paste. I tried some, I didn't like it. Didn't work for me. Really, fairly regularly through elementary school and through middle school, I was beaten up. I was beaten up verbally, probably especially, which can hurt way more than the punches. I was shoved in mud puddles. I was stuffed in lockers. A lot of times the guys would pick on me too, which is really embarrassing. Charlotte saw a picture of me as a teen. She's like, "Oh, you must have been so popular with the girls." Like, yeah, sort of. And what happened after a while, I went from taking it to refusing to take it and standing up for myself. And that's a good step. But standing up with great anger. I'm going to get these people. I'm going to, And so I was always ready for the fight. And I think it was about 7th grade that this big bully who shoved me regularly shoved me once more, and I turned around and clocked him. I mean square, and I even was like, oh, oh, oh! And he was down, bleeding, and the teacher said, "What happened to you?" "Sean O'Shea punched me," and he got sent to the office for lying. Don't know what happened. Got away with it to this day, actually. But I did discover music and acting. And this became my refuge. This became the place where I could not be that kid that was having the crap beaten out of him every day. And it was after a play that I was in that got rave reviews, even the local paper did write-ups on it and everything, that one of the guys, I think he was a junior and I was a freshman, grabbed me. "Here I go again, what? Hey, you were funny last night." He put me down. I thought, ooh, so humor can save your life. Good. So then I started intertwining humor into everything. Too much of everything, I might say. I didn't know when to back off of that. Sometimes I still wrestle with that, honestly. But I started, I dropped out of a prestigious marketing school to, after I had a nervous breakdown, actually. And as I was getting myself together, a coworker observed that I was not relating with my other workers or customers very well and suggested this book. If you have not read this, I suggest that this is New Thought 101. Very straightforward, very Christian-based, which I'm fine with. But this really was something that started shifting my thinking. And I started realizing, hey, wait a minute. Maybe I'm bringing some of this on myself. Just maybe. I could take some responsibility. Now, when you pick up a book, any book, that is quenching some thirst in you, what do you want to do? Read more. Some of us have personal libraries of New Thought or spiritual books. And I started, a coworker recommended this one. And it was a good one in terms of learning to interact with people. However, it was learning to interact with people with a motive. And I get that. We all have to make a living. But it really was, you'll get people to like you so you can make the sale. And although I was in sales, my thirst wasn't about making the sale. I wanted some friends. I really didn't have any. I really wanted friends. I went inward. I just spent a lot of time with people like this. And this man, this man in this book even, this very book, reading it was like having a friend just sitting at the breakfast table just talking. I got it. I really got it. And I think I've grabbed about anything and everything I could of Wayne's. Kind of a side story to it, I ended up working with him. Ended up doing music for him a couple of different times, and we stayed in touch and considered each other friends. And we didn't spend time at each other's homes or anything, but he was a huge help and a good friend, and I miss him already. And yet, I don't, if that makes any sense. Yes, it does. I forgot where I am. It makes total sense. Big one, a woman who was like a second mother to me, Ann Erickson, recommended this book. I got to warn you, it's not an easy read. This one's tough, but boy is it on. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Things really started shifting for me. Deepak, very, very good book. I once heard an interview, this really happened. He said, "There's no such thing as time. It is simply God's way of keeping everything from happening at once." And everybody laughed. And then he went, "No, I'm serious." Which then I was doubled over. I was like, "No, I'm serious." I love that guy. This became my mantra. And Wayne actually taught me that one-on-one, riding in the front seat of my van on the way to the airport. Wayne said, I start every circumstance and I utter these words, "How may I serve?" And life really started to shift. Thank you for the comment on the outfit. I appreciate that. Have you all seen the jacket? You've seen it. Good, thanks. All right, good. You've all seen the tie? No, I'll leave the tie. You've all seen my pants? Frightening. Yeah, all right. So I put down the jacket. Okay, there it is. All right. Everything really shifted when I started doing this. And I do it in some unusual circumstances, like picking up eggs and milk on the way home. I will actually walk into Kroger, or Ingles, where we live, it's Kroger, and actually ask, "How may I serve? What's going to happen in here that you could put me to work?" And there will be that really grumpy cashier that just something bad happened to her, or maybe a lot of bad things happened to her. And I'm gonna somehow, with a kind gesture, make a difference. And every one of us has this power. And I started getting really, really excited about the fact that every single one of us has this level of power to change a life, to make a difference. And I had a number of people come along in my life, some of which I'll get to tell you about in my short period here, that made me realize this, because they impacted me so greatly that they made me want to pay it forward. And so my work in the past couple of years, and how this came about, by the way, is I would perform and do my songs. That's what I was known for, as a singer-songwriter. But my introductions to the songs were getting a little longer and a little more explanatory, and my audiences were saying, "I really loved the story about how you came up with that song," and I would see the tissues coming out just during the story before I even did the song, and I realized, wow, well, maybe I should do a little more of this. And a New Thought minister in the Northeast recommended that I take the Sunday service one morning. And I was a wreck. That's just not what I do. And yet, I was just able to get up and just talk and tell a story about how some things started to change and shift for me. And I felt really good about that. And the fact that I get to take the music and mingle it in with that really makes me feel incredibly blessed. The fact that I'm married to my favorite songwriter who can come on some of the gigs with me and share her talent is over the top. I'm blessed beyond measure. It boggles my mind. I forget what's next. I'm jumping around a little bit, but after my talk, I'm going to do a song about one of the experiences that shifted things for me in a big way. Back in, I lose track of time, man. I don't know. I'm guessing this would be early to mid-90s. married to the wrong person, very much married to the wrong person. Yet God managed to give us 2 beautiful daughters out of that deal. And I was really sick. All of my anger that I had grown up with, committing to very much the wrong person, made both she and I very sick. We were both fighting major illnesses. And this disdain, quite frankly, for each other was really manifesting in some health challenges. But during those challenges, I started seeing the world very differently and very beautifully. And I drove past a person who looked an awful lot like that in Worcester, Massachusetts. And as I drove past, I had what I refer to as satori. It's the Buddhist word for instant awakening. And I knew, see, my daughters then were about 3 and 18 months. And as I drove past, I absolutely knew how it would feel if that was my 18-month-old. Because, 40, 50, 75 years is just a blink of God's eye. So I knew how it would feel if I had passed on and I was watching my then 18-month-old daughter as this woman. And I had to pull over because I realized that that's somebody's child. And every single person you meet is somebody's child. That's something the fatherhood did gift me with, is that realization. And now grandfatherhood, which is way cool. And I wanted to write a song about that. And I was coming up with garbage. I mean, it was bad. The stuff I was writing compared to the magnitude of this thought. The stuff was just awful. I was in a period for about 3 or 4 weeks where I was getting woken up at exactly 3 a.m. And it was getting old because I was tired. And yet, during these hours of like 3 to 4:30, 5 o'clock, I was being bombarded with amazing messages and love and visits and people who had passed on stopping by to say hello. I mean, it was a magical hour for me, but it was getting old. I needed to sleep. This particular night, I woke up and I didn't feel annoyed. I felt like, here we go again, right? And I looked at the clock, it was 2:59, and I watched it go 3:00. And I actually laughed. And I said, okay, what? I heard, it's time, go to your piano. Okay. It's electronic pianos, thank God you can use headphones, so I didn't wake up the kids. And the song I'm going to do for you after my talk was handed to me, called Somebody's Child. And I every time I hear the song, there's chords. It's in a meter I'd never played in that has chords in it. I don't know what they are. I played exactly what was given to me. And to this day, I feel like it's my responsibility to get it heard by the world. And so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Fast forward, in between all of this, the inevitable divorce happened. And my health was dangerously bad. They couldn't figure out what was going on with me. I closed a business I had worked the previous decade to build. I was eligible to be bankrupt, but I chose not to file. And was wiped out. Every earthly possession was lost, and my marriage ended, and now I'm living in a friend's spare bedroom, no longer waking up with my children running to me or putting them to bed at night. Things were not good, it seemed. And this particular night, I was feeling rather desperate. And I went outside at 3 a.m. Interestingly enough. And I looked up at this amazing sky full of stars. And I don't know why I got it in my head, But I decided that the sign from God that would tell me I'm going to get through this and I'm going to be okay would be a shooting star. So, let's go. Shooting star. I read all the books, so I can do this. I'm a Science of Mind student, Deepak, all that. You know, finally I picked one out. That one, you. I mean, I thought I was going to pop a blood vessel trying to move these stars. I mean, and I meant it. I can do this. I'm going to move the stars. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's a plane. Crap. It's got a red blinking light. I guess, all right. You know, and finally, I just, everything was hitting me. Oh my God, I've lost everything. My kids aren't here. Blah, 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 and I was a mess. And I fell to my knees, and I had the most cleansing, exhausting cry ever. You know the one. And I looked up and I said, I don't know what I'm doing here. So bright that I to this day swear it might have been a meteor. I mean, it was unbelievable. But what I heard in that, the message I got was, you do have the power, son, but that'd be me. I gave that to you. We're in this together. And that's what we need to remember. Yes, we're empowered, we're anointed, but it is because of the one that we're representing. And in every circumstance, you have an opportunity to make a huge, huge difference in somebody's life. Many of you that I got to spend a little time with last night did that for me. Last night was magical in here. It was truly magical. Every singer-songwriter, their dream when they grow up is to play at the Bluebird Cafe because the audience is so completely tuned in and listening. I mean, if you say, pass the salt, you will get thrown out of there. I mean, it's like, don't shh. It's all about revering the artist. Last night we had that level of attention and appreciation, and we really were given a gift, and I'm grateful. Speaking of a gift, just when I swore I'm never, ever, ever getting married again, I was committed to being a bachelor, I meet clearly the person I'm supposed to be here with. Fast forward to the years where we came to Nashville, and I was really seeking something new thought related. All the churches we were visiting were a little... there were too many casseroles involved, I guess. You know, I mean, Laurie was raised Jewish. Here I am like a Buddhist, Taoist, ex-Catholic. I don't know what the hell that is. And so we were, you know, we would go to places and they'd be like, oh, bless your heart. You know, so we just weren't fitting in. And Ann, who I mentioned earlier, was a unity person. And I found a unity church, a big one, seats 350 people. Wow. And I wandered into this place and the music was smoking. At the time it was Reverend John McLean was on the pulpit. He did a really heartfelt, beautiful message. I was a mess. Then they let the kids come in. They had probably 30 little adorable kids. We are walking as the light. Oh man, I'm just bawling. And then they get up and they all stand and sing the peace song. Hadn't cried that hard since the shooting star thing. I got home, I was like, Laurie, I think I found this place. Oh my gosh. I love it there. I love it. There's other people as crazy as me. I love it. Well, that day, at this place, they have a little fellowship hall through these doors. And it's a big hall with big tables set up that seat maybe 8 people at each table, and coffee and snacks and all that stuff. And they have their social hour they're visiting after the church, which is very nice. And a lot of times churches get cliquey. You visit with the people you already know and you pick up conversations that you had the week before and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes churches aren't as mindful as visitors as they could be. And that was the case here this week, honestly. I was sort of hoping to meet some folks and talk to folks, but they were all busy doing their own thing. So I grabbed a cup of coffee and I sat at a big table alone. Over in the corner was a big group of those adorable children. This little boy walked by me on the way to see his friends, and he stopped. And he looked at me, and he looked at the table, and he said, "Mister, are you alone?" I said, "Oh, right now." I said, "But I'm sure some other people will probably fill in these chairs." "Oh, well, you want me to sit with you?" I'm like, "Oh, no, oh my gosh, no, but that's so nice of you. You're great, thank you. No, you go visit your friends. I'm fine." He looked at his friends, looked at me, pulled out a chair, and sat down. And he said, "I'm Josh." And he was 8. My mom works here. She was the youth director. My sister's in back, blah, blah. My dad doesn't live with us. He lives over in such and such. And he's just going on and on and on. I'm like, he's like this little, what do you call those, indigo child or something? There's just something about this kid. And I said, "You're how old?" "You're 8? Holy crap." He's like 8 going on 80. And finally he says, "Well, I want a cookie." "Okay." "Do you want a cookie?" "Oh, no, thank you. I'm just going to have coffee." "All right. You sure?" "Yeah, I'm good, Josh." And I'm shaking my head. Wow, this child is just magical. He comes back with a plate with 2 cookies. And he says, "I thought you might change your mind." Then he says, "Which one do you want?" I get to pick the cookie. I'm like, "All right, where's your mother? I need to meet this woman." So I went back and I said, "Lady, I know you don't know me, and this is going to be kind of weird. This is my first Sunday here, but what have you done here? This child is magical." And we became good friends, and Laurie and I had her and the kids over many times and babysat, and Josh and I grew to be really good friends. And Josh is now, in January, he's going to turn 20. Wow. And I was like the big brother. You know, when topics came up that he just really wasn't feel all that comfortable about talking to mom or dad, Uncle Sean got the call. And here's what Josh taught me. People may forget what you said. They may forget what you did. A lot of times I hope they forget what I did. But they will never forget how you made them feel. And I promise you that smile that you offer that grouchy cashier or waitress or waiter or toll booth taker or auto mechanic or whatever your opportunity to serve comes about, that if you'll just go ahead and take it, this could make a really big difference for you. My gift in all of this, you know, they say that what you put out there, good or bad, comes back tenfold. For me, it's come back 1,000-fold, I swear. And the real gift for me came on a Father's Day. One day, I will get to tell that without losing it. One day. Not soon, though, apparently. When Josh called on Father's Day to say, "Hey, you know, since you've been like a dad, happy Father's Day." Jeez. I was like, "Yeah, whatever." This became my mantra. From the thoughts of that shooting star showing up to the times that I thought about and meditated about a friend I hadn't seen in about 2 or 3 years, and I really was sending a beacon of bright white light out into the ethers across the country, hoping he was alive, because I was pretty sure he was dead. And as I finished my meditation, my phone rang and it was him. And stuff like this didn't happen once in a while. Stuff like this happened every day for me and continues to happen every day for me. I want this for you. I am a miracle magnet. I started to own that. Now again, you could have that with arrogance like me trying to make that shooting star go, like it was me doing it. Right? You just need to understand you are the recipient. And you need to be a good steward of the power that is given to you. I am a miracle magnet. Would you say that with me? I am a miracle magnet. You are. You truly are. We all are. What we do with it is up to us. My life is a fairy tale right now. It's just unbelievable to me that I make a living doing what I love, that I'm married to somebody like this, that my children not only grew up to be okay, but they grew up to be like really, really cool people. And now I have 3 grandchildren that are equally cool little people. My friends are ones that, you know, everybody should have one friend as good as the ones that we have. I have dozens of them. Life is good. And each time that I would do an event, a musical event, and I would be telling stories, there was a common theme that kept coming up. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. You should write a book. Wow, have you ever thought about writing a book? No, because I don't really particularly like to sit and write. I like to talk. I like to visit with people, but I don't really like to sit and type away, except for maybe a quick Facebook message here and there. But I'm not real big into sitting and organizing my thoughts. But some years ago, I realized that there was a need to develop the people skills that I got like in the Dale Carnegie stuff and the connecting to God thing that I got from Wayne Dyer and Deepak and all of those people, and put them together and come up with a way to teach people to relate and to connect with people on a spiritual plane. And said, you know, I guess those would be people skills, but they'd be spiritual, so they'd be spiritual people skills. And I logged into my web account and I said, is spiritualpeopleskills.com available? And it was, which was weird. So I snagged it. And then I started working on the book, and then I hired a consultant, a marketing consultant on the book. Oh, there's the grandkids. Yeah, we kind of like them. Some people carry pictures around in their wallet. I have a Jumbotron. And you know, part of this is I want them to be proud of me. Probably as importantly, I want me to be proud of me. I want you to be proud of me. Life is good. Reverend John, who became a good friend and is now coming back from California to take over Unity of Nashville, Reverend John McLean, would close his talks with, all is well, life is good, and we are truly blessed. And I love that. And I've given some of my own meditations with that. All is well. Life is good, and we are truly blessed. I even recite that during those times that it seems like things kind of suck. Because I have to remind myself, this is all happening for a reason. And it always does, am I right? Well, my marketing folks decided, spiritual people skills, son, that's more than a book. It's a lifestyle. You can't just write a book and then be done. Though I do need to finish the first one. But they explained to me that spiritual people skills, it's more than just one book. I want you to come up with the foundational 7 and call it 7 spiritual people. Oh, sure, I didn't update the book on there. 7 spiritual people skills for ordinary people to make an extraordinary difference. Because you do. You make an extraordinary difference. And I'm going to talk more about that this afternoon. My website is, ta-da, spiritualpeopleskills.com. And this afternoon from about 2 to maybe 3:15, 3:30, we'll give ourselves till 3:30, but probably shouldn't take more than an hour. I really want to share the skeletal content of the book with you. The 7 spiritual people skills that will get things rolling. From there, they actually have me working on spiritual people skills for the teen, spiritual people skills for the workplace, spiritual people skills for Facebook, and which God knows we need. And so my hope is that, I will see you this afternoon. So I appreciate you listening to me, and thank you for having me. Love you guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes, indeed.
Thank you. The crazy old lady who walks in the street. She waves and she smiles and she shuffles her feet. That crazy old lady is our little girl who tries to find peace in this unknowing world. She's somebody's baby. She's somebody's child. She's somebody's baby to hold for a while. And as she grows old, how could they know just what would become of their child? That angry young man with a gun in his hand lies and he steals just to get what he can. That angry young man is really our little boy, but we've let him forget he's our pride and joy. He's somebody's baby. He's somebody's child. He's somebody's baby to hold for a while. And as he's grown old, how could they know just what would become of their child? How can it be that we just pretend that we cannot see all his children pass by? When will we learn to be all that he would want us to be without questioning why? As I hold my children who now laugh and play, can't help but wonder what happens someday if you see my children alone and afraid. Will you turn away or walk over and say, you're somebody's baby, You're somebody's child. You're somebody's baby to hold for a while. Though they may grow old, how I need to know just what will become of my child. As our spirits grow, someday we'll all know that everyone's somebody's child. Thank you so much. Oh.